So you've really gotten good at dashboards, right? You make the data sing, the insights pop, but maybe you feel like, there's something more. You've mastered showing the story in the data, but what if you could actually shape the whole data journey itself? What if that leads to a totally different role, maybe even driving the entire data strategy for your company? That's what we're going to dig into today, how BI developers, folks like you maybe, can make that leap to becoming data architects. And Azure Data Factory seems to be a really key piece of that puzzle.
Yeah, that's spot on. It really taps into where the whole industry is moving.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Everything's shifting towards the cloud, or at least hybrid setups. The lines between just building a report and designing the whole system behind it, they're getting really, really blurry. We've got this just explosion of data coming from everywhere, plus this massive push to hybrid platforms. And companies urgently need smooth, secure ways to connect all these different systems. It's not just about the final insight anymore. It's created this huge need for people who can actually architect the systems that produce those insights. And yeah, for BI folks, Azure Data Factory ADF, it sits right smack in the middle of this opportunity. It's pivotal.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit. You're calling ADF a bridge, not just another tool, but a bridge. What exactly do you mean? Like, what's it bridging?
Well, it's a bridge between just sort of using data for reports and actually owning the whole data lifecycle from start to finish.
Mm.
Traditionally, right, BI developers focus mostly on the endgame dashboards, analytics, maybe some queries. They often got data that was already kind of cleaned up. But now, with data coming from all over, things getting more complex, they're getting pulled into those earlier questions. Questions like, how does the raw stuff even get in? How do we clean it? Where should it live?
Yeah.
ADF gives you that direct, hands-on way to answer those questions. It forces you to think about the whole journey. So you're not just consuming, you're actively building and managing how data moves and transforms.
Right, right. That sounds like a big jump in what you're responsible for. So if ADF is the thing that lets you do this, what actual skills, what kind of like architectural thinking do developers pick up when they really start using it?
Oh, that's where it gets really interesting. When you start working seriously with ADF, you quickly go beyond just pulling data. You're designing and managing pretty complex data pipelines. That means learning to connect to all sorts of things, APIs, different SaaS tools like Salesforce, maybe old legacy databases still running on-premise somewhere. You learn to orchestrate the flow, make sure things run in the right order, handle dependencies, manage errors properly, stuff like that. You're using ADF's control flow features like loops to process multiple files or conditional splits, maybe running other pipelines.
So it's not just technical tasks then.
Exactly. They feel technical, but they're fundamentally architectural decisions. You're not just moving data, you're designing its pathway. You're thinking about the rules, the security, how efficiently it moves. And that translates directly into core architectural skills. Suddenly you're thinking about, okay, system performance. How do I optimize this pipeline? What compute resources do I need? You're thinking about data governance, maybe masking sensitive data as it comes in, or making sure it fits a specific schema. You're building in robust error handling, logging, making sure the data is reliable, and resource management too, thinking about cost, efficiency. These are the absolute building blocks of data architecture. ADF gives you that practical experience.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It connects the dots really clearly. But let's make it concrete. Can you give us a real world example? How does this actually play out for someone on the job?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take someone working in, say, retail, a BI developer. Their usual job might be pulling data from systems that are already set up, inventory, sales transactions, maybe web analytics, and using that to build dashboards for the execs, weekly sales, customer behavior, that kind of thing. Their main focus is really on the output, the presentation.
Right, they get the data after it's been processed somewhere else.
Exactly. But now, picture that same developer using Azure Data Factory. They aren't just getting the clean data anymore. They might be the one building the pipeline that pulls the raw clickstream data from the website, grabs the point-of-sale data from stores properly. Maybe some of that is still on-prem. They're designing how to integrate it, clean it, maybe enrich it with loyalty program info, aggregate it, get rid of duplicates, and then land it in something like Azure Synapse Analytics, all ready for those dashboards. They're involved right from the very beginning.
Wow, okay. So they're not just using the data highway, they're actually designing and paving it. What kind of specific design choices are they making them that they wouldn't have touched before?
Oh, crucial ones. For instance, designing parameterized pipelines. That means building one flexible pipeline that can be reused for different regions or different products just by changing input parameters. That's thinking like an architect, building reusable, maintainable solutions, not just one-off scripts. Big difference. They're also forced to think about runtime performance. How fast does this need to run? How much data are we moving? Should I use more parallel processing? And definitely security. How do we securely connect to that on-premise database? Maybe using something like ADF's self-hosted integration runtime, that's a key piece for hybrid setups, lets you reach into your local network securely from Azure. Making that choice is an architectural decision. All this hands-on work, it fundamentally changes their perspective. They're not just delivering insights anymore.
They're designing the insight engine.
Precisely. They're designing how the whole thing runs, making sure it's scalable, secure, efficient. And think about the benefit for the company, too. They can grow this crucial architectural talent from within, people who already know the business data. Less reliance on finding expensive external architects. It builds continuity.
So, wrapping this up then, Azure Data Factory is way more than just an ETL tool. It's really a catalyst. For BI developers, it's a clear path to leveling up, gaining those deeper architectural skills, and really boosting their career. And for companies, it's a smart way to build that vital data architecture muscle internally using the talented people they already have.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It really closes that gap. And maybe a final thought for everyone listening. How could getting comfortable with tools like ADF, really embracing that full data life cycle thinking, how could that change not just your career path, but how your whole organization approaches building and managing its data for the long haul? It's something worth pondering, I think. It's more than just learning a new tool. It's about strategically rethinking how you design and value your data assets. How might you start applying that where you are?